favour of Remain. 62% of Scottish voters backed Remain, with 38% backing a Leave vote. In Wales, Leave won over 52% of the vote and secured the most votes in all but 5 of the 22 counting areas. In Northern Ireland, the only part of the UK that shares a border with the EU, voters backed Remain, with 55% of voters choosing to remain in the EU and 45% voting to leave it. Well, that is how the results across the United Kingdom look this morning. We will be discussing throughout the morning in great detail what it all means for you, what it means for the United Kingdom, and also for the rest of the European Union. But first, our political correspondent Carol Walker has this report on the dramatic events so far.
There was no hiding the emotion as the Prime Minister and his wife Samantha emerged from Downing Street.
Good morning, everyone.
He said the will of the British people must be respected, but having fought and lost the battle to remain in the EU, the country should have a new Prime Minister.
I fought this campaign in the only way I know how, which is to say directly and passionately what I think and feel, head, heart and soul. I held nothing back. But the British people have made a very clear decision to take a different path. And as such, I think the country requires fresh leadership to take it in this direction. I will do everything I can as Prime Minister to steady the ship over the coming weeks and months. But I do not think it would be right for me to try to be the captain that steers our country to its next destination.
With turmoil and uncertainty in the financial markets, the Governor of the Bank of England said it was prepared to take further action to support the British economy if necessary.
We've taken all the necessary steps to prepare for today's events, and in the future, we will not hesitate to take any additional measures required to meet our responsibilities as the United Kingdom moves forward.
From the moment the results started coming in just after midnight, there were big wins for Leave. By the end of the night, Leave had won a clean sweep across the north of England, the Midlands, the east and west of England. London was the only region of England to support remaining a member of the EU. The result in Flintshire reflected the outcome across Wales, where voters backed Brexit. But Scotland voted by a clear majority to stay in the EU. Scotland's First Minister said it was clear that the people of Scotland see their future as part of the European Union. The results will bring fresh calls for a second referendum on Scottish independence. Northern Ireland, too, has voted to remain in the EU. Sinn Féin has said it intensifies the case for a vote on whether Northern Ireland should leave the United Kingdom. Shortly before 5 o'clock this morning, it was clear the UK had taken the historic decision to leave the European Union.
Well, at 20 minutes to 5, we can now say the decision taken in 1975 by this country to join the common market has been reversed by this referendum to leave the EU.
UKIP's leader, Nigel Farage, said he was thrilled that the country had decided to break free from what he called a failing, dying European Union.
17 million people have said we must leave the European Union. We now need a Brexit government. A government that gets on with the job. A government that begins the renegotiation of our trade relationship.
The Labour leader said he hoped the negotiations with the European Union would include efforts to protect British workers.
Clearly, there are some very difficult days ahead. The value of the pound has already fallen, and there will therefore be job consequences as a result of this decision.
Thank you very much.
A momentous day for Britain, for Europe, as the country embarks on a new and uncertain future, outside the EU and under a different leader. Carol Walker, BBC News, Westminster.
Well, in a moment we'll be going to the city and our business editor Simon Jack, who is monitoring events there. But with me now is our assistant political editor Norman Smith. And we saw earlier from the reaction outside Boris Johnson's house as he left, boos and cheers, a divided nation. But you have got to think of all the millions and millions of people who are jubilant because finally they have got what they wanted. They're leaving the EU.
For some, obviously, dejection. For others, utter joy. I was speaking to one leading Brexit campaigner who compared it to the Reformation. His view was this was a chance for Britain to be reborn, unconstrained by continental Europe, and there would be a modern